They're only giving us the scraps, my friends. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We got a ton of stuff, as usual, to get into in this video. We have this bizarre video that came out. I wouldn't say these are orbs because they're pretty crazy how they move around. We'll get into that. We got a ton of other stuff. We had an interview yesterday that everyone's been talking about from Lauren here, Boebert, where she talks about private classified UFO briefings, where they give her tons of stuff that they're not giving the general public. They're just giving us the scraps. Okay, they're giving us the nothing burger stuff. Honestly, you could probably get more from just looking at some random dude posting stuff on X than what they've been dumping in these UFO files. She spills the beans on what's really going on. We're talking portals, we're talking breeding, we're talking a lot of crazy stuff. And it's tying into, of course, the Nephilim. We're going to get into that. We got a ton of other stuff to get into as well. We got some bizarre sightings. We got this guy. I can't even explain this. I'm going to show you some pretty crazy stuff. We got Bob Lazar and some stuff on the Nephilim and a ton of other. And also this lady that disappeared may have not actually disappeared. We'll get into that as well. Well, she did disappear, but she didn't. Perhaps she's not dead, is what apparently this guy's claiming, that she has been in hiding. We'll get into that as well. And also this disclosure day with Steven Spielberg. Let's just get going here. We'll start with this crazy video. Let me just play this for you. You'll see what I'm getting at. So let's take off the audio there. This doesn't look like the standard orb. It's got like a weird trail, like energy trail or something behind it. What in the world is that? That looks crazy. No community notes on it yet. Already 1 million views. Put up yesterday. They would usually put on there, oh, this is AI. If it was AI, it would already be on there by now. That's why I sometimes wait a day before I show you guys something, because you don't know where it comes from, right? Anyways, you can pretty much fake a lot of stuff these days. Although I can usually tell if it's AI. It's pretty easy. I usually get it right too. I would say, although AI is getting pretty good now, I'd say at least 90% of the time I can tell if it's AI, just looking at it. But we have here Congressman Lauren Boebert just said that her private classified UFO briefings are far more interesting than these UFO files that the public are getting. She calls them underwhelming. Let's just play a little bit of this. Check this out.
Well, let's talk. We've got a lot to talk about. So let's talk about this Pentagon release and UAPs. What is your take on all of that?
Yes, well, I said it. I heard it best just today. I had a little bit of time in between laundry switching, and I was watching a reel. And this guy said, "You know, I trusted and believed in aliens a lot more before the U.S. government started saying they were releasing the information." And I could find a lot of truth in that. But there's a lot of frustration. Every skiff that I've gone into, there's always a caveat and excuses of different contractors who have onion-like clearance, and not everyone is read into everything. And so while one department or one contractor may be familiar with one layer to the onion, there's so many more beyond that. And I do believe that the files that were released recently, while historic, are underwhelming, especially given what I have seen in classified briefings that I'm not yet at liberty to fully disclose. But there's a lot more that is certainly unexplained. There is a lot of underwater activity, and I'm excited for some of that to come out and have the American public give their input to.
So they're saying, though, with these new upcoming releases of the UFO files, that they'll be much better. So far, they haven't really released much of anything. There was some interesting stuff in the first release. We talked about it, something that looked like Ezekiel's wheel. The second release, they literally had a fake one. They had one, well, at least it appears to be, where it was a stormtrooper balloon. It was so blurry, you couldn't tell what it was. And then someone was like, wait a second, it looks literally like a stormtrooper balloon. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, so, I mean, we're not exactly impressed so far. Obviously, the government's really slow at doing stuff. Hey, we're going to release something, and like a year later, you finally get it, right? That's pretty much how the government is. But she's talking about some pretty crazy stuff, talking about underwater bases, a breeding program, of course, humans and aliens here, and also talking about the Nephilim and stargates or portals. Okay, this is the kind of stuff she's talking about. I'm going to play some clips on that as well in a second here. And we're going to get into a lot of other crazy stuff that I've discovered that kind of fits into all of this. We have another missing person. We got this Amy Eskridge, who may actually just be in hiding. Some guys claiming that this week he's going to release information proving it, maybe an interviewer or something like that. I guess we'll find out if that is true. We got also Steven Spielberg and what he recently said, which I think he's going to be very surprised how people aren't going to react the way he's expecting. And it seems to be some sort of coordinated BS. The GOV. Oh, you're made by aliens. There's no God. I mean, they're going to say something dumb like this. I mean, they deserve to be laughed and ridiculed as a result, because clearly this is what the devils wanted people to believe forever now. This was discussed by Albert, of course, Pike. I've went through this numerous times. It's so pathetic. We talked about this stuff 10, 15 years ago. This is what they're going to do. And we're going to get into actually all that stuff and much more. First, I'm going to mention food supply, 25-year shelf life. Link is in the description. 3 months worth for $7.97. They have other options available. Just click at the link at the top of the page, and you will go, and there's a lot of different other options. I mean, it can be, you have power supplies, you got flashlights, all manner of stuff, food, stoves, everything you would ever need. Heating, cooking, solar power, water filtration, survival gear. Go check it out. Link is in the description for that. This book here, The Lost Ways, How Your Great-Great-Grandfather Lived Without Electricity. And by the way, you can get some deals. When you buy one item, you can get some very huge discounts on other items when you buy from Patriot Supply below. Also, this book here, The Lost Ways, How Your Great-Great-Grandfather Lived Without Electricity. Had a bit of seller do things around the house as he did in the old days. Hundreds of pages illustrated. You're going to definitely need that before the power goes out. You never know what other insanity might be next. World War III, the Terminators, AI, who knows, aliens, whatever. You're going to definitely want to get that book just in case. Get the printed version, $37. Also, we have our game opportunity. We are working hard on this. We got a trailer coming up soon here. Insane trailer of gameplay. We built the engine from the ground up. This engine's better than Unreal Engine. It can actually render more on the screen, 100 times more. We got the next generation engine. We created it. And we're putting it in our game. And, I mean, that's what our game's running on, And it's going to be awesome, my friends. You're going to definitely want to get involved in investment opportunity, $400 to get a seat with the other shareholders, NovaVR. I think there's like 70 seats available. Go check it out. Link is in the description for that. 33% of NovaVR profits are set aside for all those who get involved. We're going to call the game NovaVR, also Apocrypha on Genesis, depending on where we sell it and how we're doing it. Link is in the description. Let's get back to the video. So we have Lauren Boebert here. Just said that there are a lot of mentions of stargates and portals and see in the secret UFO files that only Congress can see right now. She then asks if there's a breeding between humans and these so-called aliens. And because of all the interdimensional traveling between realms and other parts of the world, we do know that there have been forced, breeding. We're talking about criminals, apparently illegal immigrants with, I mean, this is so ridiculous, but illegal aliens with aliens. This is literally what I think it was Stephen Greer said like about a month ago on an interview. You have here mortals. This obviously relates to the book of Enoch, Genesis 6, the book of Jubilees, the book of Giants, talking about angels, watchers, these being small g gods from the scriptures, cherubim, seraphim, mating with humans. This might explain why some of them look like dragons of the angels, and some of these people that are alleged aliens look like reptiles, look like ants, right? I don't know. Maybe that's why. Part human, part whatever. Also, you have the factor of monsters being created, actually mentioned in scripture. It's called Yemim. They hide it in a lot of these English translations. They'll say something like wolves when it actually doesn't say wolves, okay? It will say some mythological creature's name, and they'll just put wolves. Matter of fact, even Jonah was swallowed by a mythological creature. not a whale. Okay. I couldn't remember the name. It's actually called a cetus. Cetus. It's like a monster that lives in the sea. And actually, it may not be anything related to these monsters like Yemen. It could be just simply a dinosaur creature that was in the ocean that swallowed him. But of course, we don't believe in that. Just whales only, right? So, I mean, you got the Leviathan and Behemoth discussed in Scripture. Tail like a cedar tree. Oh, it must be an alligator. No, I don't think an alligator has a tail like a cedar tree. It clearly is not a hippopotamus. It has a little tail like this. I think it might be something bigger, like a dinosaur. I don't know. You also have dragons. You literally have a story that was removed from Scripture about 200 years ago, Bel and the Dragon, which is one of these apocryphal texts. Daniel, it went along with the book of Daniel, where he actually killed one of these dragons by feeding it something that caused its belly to obviously not do too well. That's a story that a lot of people are not even aware of that's in the Bible. But I guess dragons don't exist either. They're just myths, even though it literally says it in the Apocrypha. And it was part of the Scriptures 200 years ago, right? Pardon my sarcasm, of course. Here we have this video from her talking about these portals and such. And my researcher put up this tweet, I think a day or two ago. I think it was a day ago. May 31st, yeah. Check this out. Let's play this.
And in today's world, that's really something. But even in these, even in some of the documentations that I'm seeing, there's a lot to do with even portals. And I'm interested in more information of that coming out as well. But even to be in a congressional hearing and have enough information to ask the question, is there breeding between these biological beings and humans? There's a there that needs to be answered. And I got a lot of heat from local papers at home and some folks, but we're just asking the questions. If someone is going to come to congressional offices and say that they have seen it, that they have been a part of it, and are read into these programs.
You know, it's kind of funny because, like, we're now hearing the government tell us that there are aliens when they tell us before there were none. For like how many years? Like 70, 80 years. Oh, you're just crazy. There is no such thing. But then, of course, they finally admit what we already knew was true. They were gaslighting us in all these newspapers, telling us we were crazy for 80 years, 70 years, however long it was. What was it, 46 when Roswell, whatever it was? I can't remember. Yeah, so you get the idea.
Then it's worth an investigation. And all of these agencies, even the contract.
Okay, so what's she going to say about this? Check this out.
When they are too big to answer to government, when they were too big to answer to Congress, the entity that created them and gives them funding.
That's what's so funny about it, man. You know, we obviously know our government is being run strangely. And that there's these hidden secret compartments and groups and behind closed doors are deciding things. Obviously not the way it appears at first glance, right? And her talking about portals, but honestly, it's stuff we've been talking about on this channel for like the last 10 plus years. All the stuff we were saying is now being proven to be true. You even had this crazy story from a couple months ago. A top official who said he was, transported, of course, to a Waffle House. It's so funny, but maybe it was true. Now we're hearing that these things apparently have portals, and this goes back to all these ancient legends, American Indians, Greeks, a lot of different, even the ancient Mayans and Aztecs. Certain mountains, certain places on Earth had portals to other dimensions. And, this is why they built high places in the Old Testament, so they could commune with these gods, small g gods. You had the Tower of Babel, which I believe was a sort of like a mountain being built for a portal. I don't think it was like literally they thought they were building a tower to heaven. I think what they were thinking was that they were building a high place and then putting a gigantic portal on it. This is my theory, and this kind of goes with that whole TV show Stargate, which, of course, you have the Great Pyramid. I think they show that in Stargate, right? And so that's all about that on that show as well. And So then you had this official, top official, saying he was transported, of course, to a Waffle House. That's so funny. Are you kidding? Adding, it just sounds a little strange. I don't know about, this is kind of like Beam Me Up Scotty or something, right? And everybody's making jokes about it. I was showing like memes about it and stuff. There's like some funny memes I showed about it. But at any rate, I do believe this stuff actually is legit. We just don't know exactly how all this works. We can see it in these ancient texts, these ancient stories. We can see it in modern stories. We can see it even in the medieval times. They were drawing UFOs. We have them today as well. Obviously, everyone's talking about them, seeing them. The question is, where does the truth lie with all this? You have her, once again, Lauren, drawing on her exposure to classified UFO files, believes that these phenomena are fallen angels and Nephilim. She also says she has witnessed things that resemble portals to different realms. She ends by saying this is more spiritual and demonic. All right, let's just play this real quick.
God is the creator of the universe. He's never not going to create. So it's always been something in my mind to say, well, how can we be the only ones? Like, God's not going to stop creating just with us. But the more I look into this, the more I see the Old Testament and what was told to us there of fallen angels and Nephilim. I mean, this is in the Bible. There's nothing that says that fallen angels, that Nephilim just disappeared. And so I believe that this could be an aspect of it. You know, there are things that we have seen that could resemble portals. And, I mean, we serve an infinite God, a God of the universe. And to say that this is the only realm is...
The Bible itself literally says there are portals to heaven in it. Everyone just takes it as symbolic. Oh, it's just a parabolic speech. It doesn't mean literal portals. It's in Scripture, right? It says it in various places. And people just think it's like, oh, it's just an oversimplification of what's going on. I thought it was kind of funny, some of these comments below. I was like kind of laughing. This is not Boebert. He calls her, oh my goodness, dude. So she looks different, he's claiming. It looks to me like she has more makeup on now. That's what it looks like to me. She looks like she lost a little bit of weight and put on makeup. I mean, yeah, you can do that. It's not that hard. You can lose weight and put on makeup. This looks like what happened here. I don't know. Anyway, you also have Jesse Waters, just interviewed author and UFO researcher Chris Bledsoe, who claims he can summon UFO orbs of light through prayer, which he says is coming from aliens. This is weird. I haven't even saw this. Let's watch this together. This sounds crazy already.
He still sees the orbs above his house to this day. He's become something of a psychological phenomenon. His experience is so compelling that both NASA and the CIA have studied his brain. Even the History Channel's documenting it. They filmed him IDing an orb live. Watch.
He's pointing now, so maybe he's focusing on one. That would make sense.
He has one. He's got one in the tree line. When we started seeing that intense effort, he spotted an orb in the tree line.
Oh my goodness. I don't want to be the skeptic here, but I mean, you could literally fly drones, have a friend putting them in the right place and stuff. I mean, it could be a lot of things. It could be literally orbs. Maybe the guy got, abducted or something, and like they put something in his brain. Dude, I don't know. I have no clue what's going on here.
Let's turn it over to Christopher Bledsoe, who personally witnessed UFOs. So, Chris, the CIA studying you, NASA studying you.
Dude, what's going on here? Why is Fox News covering this stuff, man? I thought this was the Normies Network. They're like covering UFOs, man.
Channel studying
and people talking to orbs. What the hell is going on here?
Tell Jesse Waters Primetime the truth. You can summon alien orbs.
Well, it's been happening for the last.
Okay. I don't know what to make of it. You guys can tell me what you think. Maybe he's not summoning what he thinks he's summoning. I like some of the pictures that my researcher put in here. Yeah, there you go, right there. So we get on the screen a little bit better. Might not be exactly what you thought it was. Might be something a little bit evil. Who knows? I don't know what's going on here. Sounds weird. Summoning orbs. Okay. Here you have Gons from Face Like the Sun. People are finally realizing the common thread between UFO aliens, trans, of course, humanism, and Jeffrey and the Island. Yeah, actually, honestly, because they're talking about breeding. And we know one of the ranches had that, right? But then apparently also they're doing it with these aliens. Kind of weird. They were also looking for certain people who had psychic ability, which apparently is also connected to this. I think he's right. I was thinking there's like a bunch of weird connections between Jeffrey, we're talking the aliens, and AI. I feel like all three are connected in some weird way, and I just don't know what it is yet. I just know it is. I feel like there's a strong connection between all three, and I'm just not quite sure what it is. Maybe it's like a sort of the background type of connection. We'll find out in due time, I guess, right? I talked about this before as well. This was had to do with Greer. He put out an interview where he's talking about there were 69 species that were all humanoid. All these aliens are 69 species, and they're all humanoid. That sounds a lot like what we saw in the Book of Enoch. Hybrids, Nephilim, Yemim. Yemim are half human, half animal. Nephilim are half human, half small g god or angel. And perhaps there's even a combination of all three. Half angel, half human, or third angel, third human, and you know what I'm saying. Part animal, all three. Obviously, it wouldn't be a third, but you know what I'm saying. The Nephilim literally fit perfectly the explanation of these alien species. They're not from another planet. They're offspring of the fallen angels, right? And of course, I mentioned about this Brazilian tribe that was shown a picture of a gray, and they told the people they never even heard of, going to other planets or any of that stuff. They were shown a picture of a gray, and they told them that it was something that lived underground that they knew about. They had a name for it as well, saying that these things live underground. Bob Lazar on Joe Rogan. The sport model UFO was an archaeological recovery from the ocean. If you want to hide almost entire civilization down there, you could do it in the ocean as long as you do it deep enough. Navy has always been at the center of this transmedium craft, things going in and out of the water like the Tic Tac. Bob says sport model itself was an archaeological discovery. Okay, let's just play this real quick.
What's the deal with the ocean?
Because there's a ton of sightings where people see things come out of the water and go into the water.
Yeah, there has to be a reason for that. Why is it the Navy? The Navy paid me. I always said everything has been the Navy instead of the Air Force because, back in the 60s and 70s, there's Project Bluebook and the Air Force and all that. But
it makes sense, actually. You had these movies, too. I'm trying to think of the movie where the alien species comes out of the ocean.
Everything associated with this was the Navy. And in these days, you hear some of these new types of crafts that are
transmedium.
I remember showing a video of one of these jumping out of the ocean. It was like some guy, fisher boat guy. It was like two guys on a small fish boat. And they saw a jet go by. They were taking film of this. A jet goes by really fast, and then all of a sudden, right next to the boat, like really close to it, one of these UFOs just shoots out really fast. And I've shown the video. It's been like, I don't know, man. It's been at least bare minimum 5 years, maybe like 7-8 years since I showed that on video. I don't even know where it's at anymore. It was a pretty cool video, though. It was pretty interesting looking. Very believable looking, and it was way before they had AI, too. It's pretty crazy looking. It wasn't like high resolution, it was a fisherman dude with like some crappy phone, you know what I mean? You could see it though. It wasn't like blurry, but it was because it was pretty close up, but it wasn't high resolution or anything. But it was pretty interesting looking though. At any rate, you get the idea. So we have here the Tuckmeister, Tucker, talking about aliens. And said that he insinuated to him. Okay, so let's just read this. Wow, Tucker just said that the insiders insinuated to him that in many cases the aliens are more likely Nephilim, alluded to in Genesis 6. In every ancient religion, Genesis 6 refers to a spiritual union between angels and humankind, created giants. And by the way, the book of Jubilees says that not all of them are taller than humans. So that kind of is interesting because if you look at the classification of all these aliens, Most of them are taller than humans, but a few of them are shorter than humans. And supposedly there are 69 species. It's very interesting because, like I said, the Book of Jubilees mentions, I think, 4 or 5 major species, and one of the species was shorter than human. It's almost literally the exact same thing. It's almost the exact same as what it says in the book. I thought that was really bizarre. Let's play this real quick.
There are commonalities that are very striking between all world religions I'm aware of and all creation myths. And one of them, and this is of course true for Christianity, very true, is that the belief that supernatural beings take physical form. They all believe that. The Greek myths, Jesus, most famously, but that they take physical form, that they're not just like some ethereal, they're not just shadow.
He goes on to say that they mated with humans, and apparently a lot of religions, they all cover this. Matter of fact, I went through some of these historical writings from the conquistadors in the past, 1600s, via the Catholic Church. They went into South America, talked with the Mayans, Aztecs, and seen these giant skeletons, 3 giant skeletons on thrones in a cave, saw giant skulls. They put their sword in and go through the eye socket. I mean, like, their whole sword would go in. Of course, they had shorter swords back. The conquistadors had shorter swords, but still gigantic. Whatever skull it is, it's way bigger than a normal human skull. So they had all these stories as well. Like, they were talking about, they had their own creation myth. They have their own story of giant beings coming from the stars. Even the Indians, the reason why they say how is to see if you got 5 fingers or 6. And it has to do with the star people. Again, comes back to the Nephilim. It's like every single civilization, every single ancient story all connects to the flood, the creation story, and angels or gods coming down and mating with humans. Like literally every religion almost has this. So it's not like this is not something everywhere. I think it might be true, but it's kind of weird how the smart people today, or perhaps those influenced by the devil, are telling us none of that stuff's true. Oh no, you evolved over millions and millions of years, and of course none of that stuff's true, right? None of the creation myths, the flood, none of that stuff's true. This is what they'll tell you. And in that way, this comes back to the whole thing that Pike, who talked with the devil back in 1800s, 1870 approximately, was told what the devil wanted to do the next 100 plus years. Take people from Christianity to atheism, from atheism to the Luciferian light. Well, if you get rid of the Christianity, then you can bring in the aliens, and then they won't ever think it's Nephilim, right? This is the entire point. That's why I think he did that way. And I've covered that numerous times. But getting onto some other stuff here, we have the missing UFO-linked Air Force general had a meeting with an unidentified woman and members of U.S. Space Force just hours before he went missing. William Neil McCaslin, who was linked to classified UFO programs, vanished February 27th, according to new body cam audio. McCaslin had dinner with members of the U.S. Space Force the night before he disappeared. He has a very classified security clearance. He was head of the Air Force Research Lab. The man's names are in the UFO documents that are fixed to be released. The woman said the audio obtained by Law and Crime. He's been that in-depth, so he has a very high security clearance.
Wearing.
Let's play this real quick.
So I called in trying to get a hold of everyone. I'm actually walking into his favorite coffee shop right now to see if they've seen him. So I work with Mr. McCaslin on the Kirtland Partnership. He's a board member. He's a retired general with Air Force Research Lab.
Okay.
And we had dinner Thursday evening at Cervantes off of Gibson.
Okay.
At 6 o'clock with Space Force. And what I noticed, I was shocked this morning when I saw the alert, because what I noticed Thursday evening is he wasn't his usual self. He was kind of spacey and quiet. And you know, that happens with people, so I didn't put anything with it.
Right.
He left in his vehicle. And then I called this morning, security forces out at Kirtland just to ensure he hasn't used his card out there. And he hasn't access based, and they're going to keep monitoring that.
So, of course, he disappeared, and they weren't able to find him. After that, went missing. And, of course, this lady right here, they said died back in 2022, Amy Eskridge. Next week, this guy here, Michael Sala, says, I will publicly release details that Amy faked, of course, her death, and is now in contact with a reliable source I have known for several years who shared stunning info about her current anti-gravity, of course, research at a secret research facility. So it makes you wonder. I don't know if this is, obviously we don't know if this is true at all. Perhaps she's dead. We don't know. But it is kind of interesting how all these scientists would disappear, die. Could some of them actually have been just brought into some new program that's completely covert? Right? We don't know. Or is there something else going on? Perhaps because they knew too much. Which one is it? We don't know. You have here Hollywood director Steven Spielberg says the truth about UFOs will dislocate society and cause humans to question their religions. Oh my goodness. I feel like this guy is still living like 10, 20 years in the past. I saw his trailer for his movie Disclosure Day. It just reminded me of movies from like 2005 or something, or like 1999. Like it had that feel like he's like got, like he's the kind of guy who just watches CNN, you know, and like thinks everybody else is watching it or something. Obviously, it's not going to do this. He might think this. Maybe some older people that are like him might think this, but I think a lot of people are not going to question religions because they don't believe this. They think there's something deceptive going on. Ever since 2020, it's become very obvious and evident that they're not exactly telling us the truth about everything. Talking about the GOV, of course. And so I don't think it's going to happen like that. I think they're going to try to claim that they created us or some BS like that. So dumb. And obviously it relates to that movie Prometheus, the prequel to Aliens. Prometheus, of course, being the second generation Titan of the Greek mythology, or essentially the devil. And they're going to claim that he created us. There has never been in history of the planet Earth a better example of when they tell you who they are, believe them. The aliens of today are dryads, skin, walkers, shapeshifters, and Jinn of the past. Stay sharp, focus, Jesus is king. Well, I mean, it's kind of true. I mean, yeah, a lot of these ancient mythologies, like you've heard of the Minotaur, Centaur. Those are Yemim. Those are half animal, half humans. You got, or perhaps half animal, half angel, and probably more so that with Minotaurs and Centaurs. But you got all these strange legends and stories. And actually, it's in Scripture too, by the way. There is a section, I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but they don't translate it properly. So it looks like it's just talking about animals when it's literally talking about these type of like minotaurs or something like that. There's one spot in the Old Testament where it does that. And I've covered it before, but I don't have it in front of me right now. I don't want to go sit and look it up. It'll probably take me 10 minutes, but at any rate, I'll probably cover that in another video. You have here them showing a deer and then it becomes an alien. Could that be a shape-shifting thing? A lot of people have been talking about that of recent. And you had also in that movie, Leave, the World Behind from Obama. It has a deer right in the middle of the road on its picture, right? And then you got this deer in Disclosure Day's trailer. And it makes you wonder if they're talking about shape-shifting. Obama also, first time ever, visited the set of a Steven Spielberg movie. That's what Steven Spielberg said about it a couple days ago. So there's a weird connection between aliens and deer, making it even stranger than when you consider North American mythology, particularly that of the Navajo tribe. You have the legend of skin, walkers that are practitioners of dark magic, where evil spirits grant them the ability to transform into various animals where there are many different depictions of these transforming into deer or elk. You also have the infamous ranch with over 2 whole centuries of UFO and alien sightings, paranormal, supernatural phenomena, and et cetera, et cetera. At any rate, you get the idea. Kind of wonder what some of you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.